First gave us the idea that we should do a video, I thought to myself, who should I do? Then it came to me, I should do one of the key activists in the civil rights movement, the first African American to go to Ole Miss University, James Meredith. James Howard Meredith was born June 25th, 1933. Meredith enlisted in the United States Air Force, served 9 years, then attended Jackson State University for 2. After his 2 years at Jackson State University, Meredith then applied to Ole Miss, which under their own state laws says that racial segregation is okay, which is a tradition that they accepted. But because of Brown v. Board of Education, the U.S. Supreme Court specifically ordered by the U.S. Supreme Court to go to the university. This started massive riots, as seen in this next clip.
The next day, Sunday, September 30th. Finally, President Kennedy decided the time had come to enroll James Meredith at Ole Miss. He sent several hundred U.S. Marshals to the campus to prepare, and he announced he'd make a special speech to the state that night.
Students came, and of course, they saw the marshals. I know I got angry when I saw the marshals. It seemed a betrayal. It made me mad. You know, why are these people here? Well, we haven't done anything. And people have behaved themselves, and, you know, what is going on? And I caught myself really with some of these feelings.
After the marshals had secured their positions, James Meredith was flown into Oxford Airport and driven to a secret location at Ole Miss. The crowds didn't know where he was, but they knew he was on campus. And at 8 o'clock, just as the president went on the air, Ole Miss turned into a battlefield. Very few people heard the president's words.
Americans are free and sure to disagree with the law, but not to disobey it. For in a government of laws and not of men, no man, however prominent or powerful, and no mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law. The eyes of the nation and all the world are upon you and upon all of us.
The marshals were ordered not to use guns against the rioters, who were shooting and throwing Molotov cocktails. And the rioters were targeting the media, smashing cameras and attacking reporters.
Well, you see, we got to get order up there, and that's what we thought we were going to have.
President, please, why don't you give an order up there to remove Mayor?
How can I remove him, Governor, when there's a riot in the street, and he may step out of that building and something happen to him? I can't remove him under those conditions.
People are wiring me and calling me saying, well, you've given up. I said, I had to say, no, I'm not giving up any fight.
Yeah, but we don't
I never give up. I have courage and faith, and we'll win this fight, you understand? That's just the Mississippi people.
I understand, but I don't think anybody in Mississippi or any place else wants a lot of people killed.
Oh, no.
That's what, Governor, that's the most important thing.
I'll issue any statement any time about decent violence.
While the president and the governor argued, the riot worsened. Finally, Katzenbach asked the White House for troops. It took hours for them to arrive, and during the night, 35 marshals were shot, and 2 people, a French journalist and an Oxford worker, were killed. But by dawn, the army had restored order.
I recall driving to the campus, and I guess when I got to the circle was when I really saw the impact of the riot the previous evening. I reported to my office. As I recall it, there weren't very many of the staff
there. Many of them were too afraid to come to the campus on Monday. And later, James Meredith came to my private office, and I accommodated the registration there.
It wasn't a cause for laughter and champagne, but it was a cause for some relief, and it was the fact that was over with. I mean, in a way, Oxford had become the symbol of massive resistance and the final gasp of the Civil War, if you want to look at it that way. And it was over. It had ended.
There's been a great deal of turmoil and conflict. 2 people have been killed. Do you have any feelings of guilt? Have you given that any second thoughts?
I'm very sorry that anyone had to get hurt or killed. But of course, I think that's an unfair question to me. I don't believe any of you believe that I had anything to do with that.
How are you getting along in school, sir?
Just fine, just fine.
How are the students have been talking to? Has there been any reaction?
No, just acting like students, I suppose.
Is this a kind of a lonely life for you, despite all these people around you?
I've been living a lonely life a long time.
It was a lonely victory for James Meredith, but it was a victory for him and the country. The Constitution had held and been reaffirmed in a major crisis.
A key fact in the story of James Meredith was that the 1962 football team at Ole Miss had an undefeated streak. So while James was trying to rise to his glory as a student at Ole Miss and trying to beat the white supremacy in Ole Miss, the football team at the same time tried to almost push James away because of their greatness, which did not help James at all. The next clip that I'm about to show has the governor of Mississippi. He was about to enroll James Meredith until he went to a Mississippi football game and was captivated and kind of nationalized to the idea of Mississippi and how the generations of Mississippi should stay together and be the traditional way that they've been living. And it also has a reaction by JFK, the president at this time.
Mr. Chairman and my fellow Mississippians. I love Mississippi. I love her people. I'm a custom. I love and I respect our heritage.
My obligation under the Constitution and the statutes of the United States was and is to implement the orders of the court with whatever means are necessary and with as little force and civil disorder as the circumstances permit. It was for this reason that I federalized the Mississippi National Guard as the most appropriate instrument, should any be needed, to preserve law and order by United States Marshals carried out the orders of the court and prepared to back them up with whatever other civil or military enforcement might have been required.
Meredith graduated on August 18, 1963 with a political science degree. After that, he went back and returned to the U.S. to get a scholarship at the University of Columbia and earned a law degree. Then, Meredith led a march from Memphis to Jackson, Mississippi that was for the voting rights of black people in 1965. Meredith also won the Pulitzer Prize for photography in 1967. Meredith was a key component in the civil rights movement. Thank you for watching, and I hope you liked my video, Complication of James Meredith.